Yes then YouTube, now the 5-4-1 has been an amazing formation for many months on this FIFA. So without any further ado, let's get straight into a brand new updated 5-4-1 custom tactics. You are going to want to use balanced on the defensive style, but, and there is a but, because we are playing a 5-back, you can definitely use pressure on heavy touch. Now pressure on heavy touch is good, just be aware of the random bits of pressing that will happen when you do have pressure on heavy touch on, because sometimes it can press when you're not expecting it, but it is definitely good and a viable option. I like to use balanced though, YouTube. I think balanced is definitely the way to go, but pressure on every touch is also good. Now, the defensive width, YouTube, you are going to want to go very narrow with the 5-4-1. So I go all the way down to 30 on the width. The reason being, you want your left wing back and your right wing back very tucked in and very narrow and compact to your three centre backs. You want your left mid and your right midfielder very narrow and tucked in as well. You want all of that flat four across the midfield to be very narrow, close to the back five. It's a very hard formation to break down the 5-4-1, and the more narrow you make it, the harder it is because there's less gaps for your opponent to find. So I'm rocking the balanced defensive style with 30 width, but again, pressure on every touch is definitely a viable option. The offensive width, YouTube, is actually all the way up to 60. Now, there is method to this madness. The way I look at that is, we are rocking a 5-back. We don't want to actually go too defensive, you know, like with the 50 depth or the 55 depth. We can afford to be a little bit more aggressive with that 60 depth than we would normally be. I really like that, man. I really do. I think this little trio here of balanced on the defensive style, 30 width and 60 depth, I think is really good. I really do. I think it's something that more people should use, especially when they're using a formation like a 5-4-1 where it is a little bit more defensive than the other formations. Like a favourite of mine at the minute is the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow. The 5-4-1 is obviously more defensive than that, but it is just as good going forward. Now, on new gen, you are going to want to use balanced and direct passing. So I mainly play new gen. I still play old gen from time to time to make sure the custom tactics videos that I'm putting out for you do still work on old gen. So if you are on new gen, you are going to want to use balanced and direct passing. If you are on old gen, then you are going to want to use long ball and balance. Now, I don't know why. I've been saying this a lot in my last couple of videos. I don't know what's happened with old gen, but balanced and direct passing at this moment in time just isn't hitting like it used to. It's nowhere near as good as it was before. Long ball and balanced on old gen now plays like balanced and direct passing on new gen. So it's just as effective. It actually plays exactly the same, which makes me think that maybe balanced and direct passing is a little bit bugged on old gen in one of the updates that they've brought out. So old gen, long ball and balanced. New gen, of course, your absolute bread and butter, balanced and direct passing. The offensive width, I've actually gone to 45. So the reason being for this, you want your left midfielder and your right midfielder to be a little bit more narrow than they would normally be. So you want them making them darting runs in towards your striker, kind of like a prime Liverpool was when they had Mane and Salah on the left wing and the right wing. You want them making them runs into the striker. To make that a little bit more effective, you obviously lower the offensive width, so then they're actually making them runs a lot closer to the box. So that's why I use it on 45. You can actually go even lower than that. You can go all the way down to 40 or stuff like that if you want. I just really think 45 on the width at this moment in time is like perfect. It's ideal for the 5-4-1. Players in the box, of course, is going to be 7. Yep, you guessed it, 7. So no real method to that madness. I just always think the more players you have in the box, the more likely you are to score a goal. That is really just how simple I look at things. So balanced, direct passing, 45 on the width, 7 players in the box, and then of course 2 corners and 2 free kicks like so. Now with the 5-4-1, we are on the pay to win account. This is how the team is set up in the 5-4-1. It does look a little bit all over the shop, but there is method to it, okay? So you are going to want to use attackers on that right midfield and the left midfield, and obviously an attacker in the striker position. You can then use another attacker in one of the midfield positions if you want, and also an attacker in the left wing back or the right wing back roles. That is absolutely fine. So player instructions on the striker: stay central and get in behind. I do not want my Pele or my striker to leave the width of the goalpost, so that is why I put him on stay central. The stay central, in my opinion, is the single most important player instruction on this 5-4-1, because if your striker starts to drift wide and stuff like that, the formation will just go to absolute shit. So you kind of want to stay away from the drift wide if you can. If you want to use that, you can. You just might not get a lot of success with it. And then, of course, the getting behind, absolute bread and butter. I've not really been using getting behind on some formations recently, but on the 5-4-1, I feel like it's needed, with it being a 5-back formation, to get that more attacking output with it. Of course, the striker will make the run in behind, but you don't have to play the ball to him. You can use it as a bit of a dummy. Left midfield and the right midfield, this is so important, okay? Like, I can't express to you how important this is, that your left midfield and your right midfield are on these player instructions. So the first thing you're going to want to do is come back on defence, then cut inside, then get in behind, and then get into the box for cross. And that is exactly the same on the left midfielder. So come back on defence, cut inside, get in behind, and get into the box for cross. So basically, YouTube, like what I was saying earlier in the custom tactics part, I want the left midfielder and the right midfielder to make these darting runs up to my striker when I've got the ball. I want them to literally, like it says on the tin, get into the box for cross, cut inside, and get in behind. I want them to make them angled runs towards the striker, because if they do that, we will create and score more goals and just create more opportunities. It's so needed, in my opinion. It really is needed for you to do it. I wouldn't be opposed to you not having getting behind on... I wouldn't be opposed to you not having cut inside or get into the box across if you want to use it in a different way. But for me, that is how I've got my left midfielder and my right midfielder scoring way more goals. Now, this is where you need to use a little bit of your own initiative, YouTube. I have both of my central midfielders on completely default settings apart from cover centre. So both my left centre mid and my right centre mid will make attacking runs into the box to score goals. Remember what I said, this is a 5-back formation, so defensively it's solid anyway. It always has been and it always will be, but we want to get it a little bit more aggressive going forward. So to do that, we put both of the centre midfielders, just leave them on balance. They won't always bomb forward, but they will when they get the opportunity. If you don't like that, put the more defensive-minded midfielder, so just one of them. Just put one of the defensive-minded midfielders on stay back while attacking. So for me, it would obviously be Jude Bellingham on my pay to win. That is who I would put on stay back while attacking. Both of my wing-backs are on exactly the same custom tactics, YouTube. My right wing-back and my left wing-back, they are on the same, and that is join the attack and overlap. So they will be making them runs on the outside of the pitch, as my left midfielder and my right midfielder, they make darting runs into the centre. It will give my left wing back and my right wing back the opportunity to overlap and create an overload on the width of the pitch. Last but not least, YouTube, comes for crosses and sweep the keeper on the goalkeeper. And that right there is my updated 5-4-1 custom tactics video for you guys. If you did enjoy this video, please drop a like on it, drop a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button to my channel. Let's hit 30k before the new FIFA comes out. That would mean the world to me. Thank you for watching. Remember, spread the love and positivity. PMA, positive mental attitude. Peace out. One love.